Overnight. Longer than I wanted to be. And we're here.
Yeah, and we're live.
Talking about jail.
Talking about some nice overnights.
Mm-hmm.
Some free accommodations on the, how do you get your tax dollars back?
That would actually be if you look at it by the hour, it's super expensive to stay in jail. just from personal experience.
What's your favorite holding cell?
The best is when there's like a payphone in there, like in the cell.
Yeah, you want to know where there isn't one of those? Alsip.
Oh yeah, there's one in Indiana, Fort Wayne.
These are all just rumors. We don't really actually know this. Don't look up any booking photos or anything.
Oh my god, if you can find my mugshot, bounty. I can't find it.
I'll probably get. If my brother actually watches this, he'll probably be pissed off. But I remember when he got. I was the next morning. I was F9. I was waiting for it to post. But hey, we're good citizens here. Sometimes the long arm of the law is a little too long and it gets you.
It's a learning experience.
It happens. What do we got today, Adam?
Are you Googling for my mugshot right now?
Yes, I am.
Do not.
Yeah, well, do not post that. That's confidential. Let me tell you, you need to get yourself an attorney and get that suppressed.
I know there's no way to find it. You can't find it. I've tried everything. Go ahead. Don't pay for it though. All right. Anyway, what do we got today?
Don't pay for it because we got inflation.
Yeah, we're talking about inflation.
Well, let's see. I took it literally. I did. Everyone said, "Hey, break a leg." I tried to break my leg the other day.
Yeah.
9 out of 10 don't recommend. So we got insurance for. But health insurance helps a little bit there. Shout out to the urgent care facility right down here on 41. In and out pretty quick.
Splint, X-ray. X-ray there?
X-ray right there.
Wow.
One of those nice, like not even like an old-fashioned X-ray machine. It's got like, hey, just lay here. We'll do this, and then they're like, hey, let's take the guy with the bad ankle and put him in the room farthest away from the door.
And no crutches. Do you have crutches?
They gave me crutches at the end, but you'd think when I hobbled in there, they might offer a crutch, but it's they probably knew me. This guy had enough crutches in his life.
Getting hurt sucks.
It does, especially when you're playing a 3.5-year-old in soccer.
He beat you.
I scored a goal though, so like at the end of the day, I still won. His imitation of me though was pretty hysterical after.
I'd like to see that.
I'll see what I can conjure up for you on the old video camera. We got Rory McElroy yesterday says, "Get me off the tour policy board because
take my ball. I'm going home.
I'm going home, and don't you dare wave a hat in front of me."
Yeah.
Hey, what?
I don't blame him.
You got stabbed in the back, right?
Yeah, it's like you don't trust the people. Like, well, what am I on the board for? You put me out there, and I stood up for you, and then you just pooped on me.
Pretty much. I sat there. Lost probably a couple friends.
Held the line.
Really, really towed the line like a company man there.
Yeah, teaches you a lesson, doesn't it?
Exactly. Saudi Arabia always big money. Big money always wins.
Mm-hmm.
And it is what it is. This whole DP tour, Live, PG, it's all going to get rolled into one. It'd be like that South Park episode. I don't know if you ever saw that one where all the major religions come together and their logo is the Van Halen logo. All the major golf brands are going to come together, and then Van Halen's going to play a concert, and everyone will be right.
Pretty cool.
We had that. Bears somehow eke out a win. Maybe one of the worst football games ever last Thursday. On the football topic, Deshaun Watson out for the season now too.
Wow.
Yeah. R.I.P. to the Cleveland rehab facility.
Is Fields back?
I think
next week,
maybe. I don't. Who knows? Does anyone even care about the Bears?
Not really.
I don't.
What are they 2-5 or 6 with it? Doesn't matter.
Mired in mediocrity.
Yeah.
Like, we did lose talk about teams that are just stuck being mediocre. The White Sox lose Jason Benetti from the announcer's booth. So I'm out of here. I'm going to Detroit.
I think the Cubs announced a new coach, didn't they?
Oh yeah, Craig Counsell.
Who's that guy? What's the insight?
Former baseball player, Milwaukee Brewer manager.
Hey, they win.
Yeah, they're Wrigley Field North stuff.
Wisconsin wins. I don't know.
I don't know, man. The Packers, they did
won. Like recently,
historically.
Yeah,
it's it'll be interesting though. Cubs part ways with David Ross, a fan favorite.
Where's that guy going to go? Be a hitting coach somewhere?
Oh, that's what's interesting is the Yankees offered him a bench coach position. He said, "No, I'd rather be a manager. Otherwise, I'm not coming back."
That makes sense.
Boss move from a boss guy, you know.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? He wasn't really given any opportunity to actually win.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden, hey, we'll get Craig Counsell in here. Oh, then by the way, we're gonna go hard at Shohei Ohtani. It's pretty easy to win if you got Babe Ruth on your team.
Yeah.
Unless you're the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim.
Hmm.
Stupid name, and they can't win with them. So we'll see what happens with baseball here. We got ourselves 3 months, 4 months before we really got to see anything with that.
Nuts.
Um,
Is their season longer or hockey? It's got to be hockey.
Baseball's longest.
Baseball's longest.
Yeah, 162 games.
I just meant like time, though.
Oh, it's still the longest.
Is it?
By far. Hockey and basketball are about the same.
Really?
Yep.
I always thought hockey was just so long.
It feels long. Well, if it's an Olympic year, then they got the Olympic break and all that stuff. It's then the NBA's got this mid-season tournament now. I give up.
Yeah.
We're just some sad Chicago fans. It's really got nothing good to watch right now. So let's talk about basketball a little bit here for a second and getting shot clocks off, or if you're the play clock in the NFL. If you're a seller and you're trying to sell your house before the end of the year, you got the what do you want to call it, the sell your house clock to get a swing out there. What we've noticed on our side of the fence here with people wanting mortgages and wondering about affordability. Hey, you know what? I'm going to go buy that new construction house because they got that really low interest rate advertised out there.
Yeah.
We'll do a whole show on the behind the scenes. We'll go like behind the curtains on how that works. Maybe
where the
next
costs
week
are. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe next week or something. But let's talk about if you're that seller today, right? So, Adam, you want to sell your house. You keep losing these people to, oh, you know what? I really liked it, but I went and bought new construction because it was cheaper. It was more affordable. It was this or it was that. Let me show you a little trick. Instead of doing a price cut on your house,
okay,
how you can meet that buyer in the middle as
how do you do that?
Hey, a lot of different ways.
Okay.
A headlock? No, that doesn't work. You can, instead of doing a price cut here, you can do this thing called a 3-2-1 buy down, a 2-1 buy down, a 1-0 buy down. What does all of that mean?
Well, it sounds like you're buying something.
Pretty much.
Okay.
So in the case of this, you're the seller, you're selling something, and then you're giving a little bit of money to the buyer to offset interest cost.
Okay.
So in this example here that we got on the screen, $350,000 purchase price with a $315,000 loan amount. All right.
Okay.
So you're putting 10% down on this house. You say, the normal rate today, we call it 7.25%. Don't quote me on that. That's not an interest rate quote by any means. Fine print. Example, exactly. Big. We should have put example on this. In this instance here, you could advertise as the seller, hey, I'm willing to fund a 3-2-1 buy down or a 2-1 buy down. What's a 3-2-1 buy down? It means that for year one, that interest rate is going to be 4.25%, 5.25%, 6.25%. Now, when we say that interest rate is going to be, I got to be very specific about this so I don't get in trouble. It means that the seller is going to defray the interest cost for those first 3 years of you owning that home.
Wow.
So in this example, we're talking about year one on that 3-2-1 buy down, monthly savings of $550
a month.
Yes.
Wow.
So your mortgage payment here, I got to zoom in because I can't see. So $2,149 normally, right? With a 7.25% for $315,000. Your first year, $1,550.
Wow.
Then it goes to $1,739, and then it goes to $1,940.
Question.
Yes.
If the rates come down in the middle of that, can you just go ahead and refi anyway?
Sure can.
Wow.
And that all it is.
Wow.
So what happens is on this transaction, right? So the cost here on the 3-2-1 in this case is $14,000 and change.
Okay.
That comes from the seller.
Okay.
That money sits in an escrow account, and then each month the buyer makes their mortgage payment at the lesser amount, and then the servicer dips into that escrow account and pulls in the extra interest.
Difference.
Yep.
Got it. Okay.
So if you go to refinance, all that happens is that escrow account gets credited into your payoff. So there's no prepayment penalty in this situation. There's no extra cost. There's no extra hassle. 2-1 buy down, a little more affordable to the seller. It doesn't give as much of a benefit to a buyer, but still you could go down, 5.25%, then 6.25%. Now these are still fixed rate mortgages. So let's say interest rates don't actually go down in that period, Adam.
Okay.
In year 4, you're still you're still 7.25% fixed rate.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
That's what it would have been anyway.
Exactly. So you get the first 3 years of affordability, or 2 years. You can actually do this there's other variations of this too. There's 1-0 buy down, so it's bought down for 1% for a year. And we just rolled out at Novus a 1-1 buy down, which is it's just 1% lower for the first 2 years.
And a seller's just going to take that out of sales proceeds, right?
Yep.
So they're reducing their tax burden potentially.
Yeah. So here, let's talk about this, right? So you got, in this case, a $350,000 purchase price, and it's going to cost you $14,000 and change to advertise this product to a potential buyer.
Okay.
If you just did a $15,000 price cut on this house, that payment, on this exact same scenario, $2,057 just for principal and interest. So you go from what, $2,149 to $2,057. Yeah, that's not going to hook somebody. $100.
Yeah,
that's honest to God. That's a DoorDash order from Kataro. That's like not even you're hungry.
Yeah, Bono shut down, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we'll talk about that later.
All right. Well, yeah, we'll go to current events and other situations. But yeah, so
you're wrapping. This is just a way to sell it, and it's the same difference. It's just better off.
Because here's what's happening. So we see all these sellers or all these builders advertising, a 4.99 30-year fixed rate if you buy one of our houses by the end of the year. Well, if you're buying in the $400,000 price point, that's going to be a real savings.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what happens there? We don't know entirely, right? Like, you're going to be stuck on something that they have in stock. You don't get to have those fancy upgrades and all of that stuff. And let's be honest, a lot of these builders that are offering that aren't building like the best quality homes. They're track built, build them fast, whip them up.
Situation. You're going to have problems later.
Yeah. So why not, like, hey, if I'm going to lose these buyers to this situation, why not meet them in the middle? It's not a perfect solution, right? It costs you 3.5% of the sales price of your house in some cases. But if you need to sell that house, right? What happens if you're building a house or you're trying to buy another house and you got a contingency, you got to actually sell your house?
You got to move it.
Right? All we're dealing with right now, we talked about this for the last, 8 months? Interest rates are higher. Inflation's high. The cost of living is high. Everything's high. So how do we entice someone to get back into it, right? Closing costs are a little more, mortgage closing costs are a little more expensive. Insurance prices have gone up. We could talk about that in the latest inflation report too.
Mm-hmm.
So let's just meet in the middle, right? How does this happen, right? In baseball, basketball, football, a team has an offer, an agent reviews the offer. It's the same exact thing. How do we get this guy to sign this deal?
Yeah.
You want to come sign for the Chicago Bears? Probably not.
I wouldn't.
Exactly. I don't blame you. I know it's like a super basic rundown of it,
no,
but
that's cool.
This is how these guys, if that shot clock's ticking, or if you're in this case, you're Tyson, whatever his last name is, dropping back, and you got a crappy offensive line, and that you got to throw the ball, clock is ticking. Baseball, everyone's got clocks now. You got the NBA's got the shot clock, the NFL's got a play clock, MLB's got the pitch clock.
Yep.
You get put on the clock and you can't find your golf ball in the forest.
True.
That's why, hey, I thought I was playing a Titleist Pro V1 with the red one.
Yeah.
You're putting a black one there, sir. What a coincidence. I'm colorblind. Real quick, we talked about the inflation report here for a second, too. Inflation trending down should be a good thing for interest rates longer term. A couple things popped up, though, and we've heard this. We've talked about this. Insurance cost.
Yes.
And one of the bigger ticket items was actually car insurance cost is increased according to the Fed report here, 17%.
Yes.
So it's not you, right?
No.
I checked your back pocket. You weren't 17% taller on your right butt cheek.
No. What's actually happening is the severity of claims has gone through the roof. So that is attributed a lot to all these new car fancy schmancy things, right? So a bumper used to be $800. A bumper now is like $4,000 because it's got sensors and cameras and blah, blah, blah. So when there's a claim that's 4 times higher, you're going to pay more for the premium. It's kind of just how things work. So you're going to see us be independent from the inflation because it's not the same as the cost of eggs going up or interest rates going up. That does affect us, labor, materials, but these cars are getting fancy, man. I mean, You used to bump into somebody and didn't damage anything. Now you just barely tap someone and the whole bumper cracks, and now you get a $4,000 claim. I don't see that going anywhere anytime soon. So
I think we're still dealing with some backlog on car labor and all that stuff too, right? Getting materials, everything like that.
And then,
so now you have now your insurance company is paying for a rental car.
Yep.
That
for longer.
When that rental car is extremely expensive to begin with.
And what's going then further on that is everyone's like, oh yeah, they brag about how their 2018 truck is worth more now than it was when they bought it, and they're, oh, that's great. Well, what happens when you total that car? The insurance company has to pay the market value of that truck. So total loss claims have gone up with the value of cars because there was such a shrink on the supply. So it's a 3, 4, 5 year thing before this ever gets figured out, I think. Or maybe it doesn't, because cars might still continue to get fancier. I just don't know.
It would be like the Jetsons. It's going to be flying around. So serious question about that real quick, though, before we wrap this up. You and I have always talked about, and we always joke about full service places, mortgage companies, insurance companies. So where are some things that people should check in their car coverages to make sure that they're just not going to get waylaid either with a personal liability situation or verifying that they have the right coverage? Because everyone, all of a sudden that premium comes in. How do I cut my coverage versus how do I make sure that my $85,000 GMC 2500 is adequately insured?
That's a good point. I mean, so people, when you save money on insurance, there's two ways to save it. It's on the premium, so you save dollars.
Yep.
You call Geico or whatever, Progressive, name your price. Or when there's a claim, you save thousands of dollars. So making sure you have the right coverage saves you way more money. It's not short-sighted. The biggest things I see is people who don't have rental car coverage. Your car gets in an accident. How much is a car to rent at Enterprise, do you think, a day?
I'd probably say $109.
It's getting up there. I mean, it's a regular car is $40 a day. A nice car is $75. If that car is in the shop for 6 weeks, we're talking about several $1,000s coming out of your pocket if you still got to get to work.
Yeah, well, if you have to get to work. So now you're looking at it. Could you be in a situation where you're paying to get to work?
Yes.
Draining your budget, or you're not going to work and you lose potentially a job or income.
And you could have had that coverage on your insurance. They probably didn't explain that when you called the 1-800 number, but it's about $3 a month, and you wouldn't have had to come out of pocket.
So $3 a month versus, potentially not getting to work.
Yeah.
Or paying, a couple $1,000 to Enterprise or to Hertz. Maybe getting the Gold Club or something. That way you go to the airport, you go to the cool cars. But it's the unfortunate part, and we want every one of the 18 people to watch this, but if someone actually does click on this later, to understand that insuring your assets is one of the most important things to do from a whole financial approach, right?
Yeah, it's the beginning of it.
So start at the foundation.
Yeah, and one day we'll talk about the difference between the companies, because most of these insurance companies that save you money, they're actually organized as stock companies, where companies like State Farm are mutual. And that means who are they serving? If you're a stock company, you're serving Wall Street. They need to make a profit.
The shareholders.
Yeah. If you're mutual, if you're
the diamond hands, right. Paper hands.
We'll talk about that later. But it matters. I would suggest never having your insurance with a stock company.
All right. Hot take.
We'll
we got nothing else is hot except for the weather. 62 degrees. Great. Got all of a sudden spring is back real quick in Chicago for a minute.
It's gonna turn. I think it already turned. It was already like 29 degrees snowing, and now it's 70. What's going on?
Listen, it's changes like a lot of people's opinions change in buying a house. But seriously, if your back's against the wall, you got to sell a house. Get in touch with us. Get in touch with the real estate agent. This isn't some exclusive Novus product. I'll be honest. Like 99% of mortgage companies have something like this available. But what happens is that people don't explain it, or people don't want to put the numbers to it. I promise you, we deal with buyers every day. You deal with people getting insurance every day. That bottom dollar in their budget right now is the most important thing to them.
It is.
So if I can make owning that house $400 or $500 a month more affordable for the next 12 months, I'm going to be way more apt to buy it.
Yeah.
Because now interest rate's it's no longer a concern. It's not an objection in this case. Get in touch with us, Adam.
At adamismyagent.com.
Visit us, applywithjr.com. See you guys next week. Well, we got the pre Thanksgiving show next
We
week.
do. We got
Sabrina, are we getting some turkey and some turkey dip?
I'll make some apple pie.
All right, perfect.
Here you go.
We'll see you guys next week.